You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast. Hi, Max. How you doing? Where Ross and I are presenting live from the Shack at Tooting and Mitcham's Football Stadium. We will be talking about day 3 of the second test in Brisbane, which has not gone England's way. Max, you're at home. How are you doing?
Good. Yep. I'm really confused. This is going to be the most ridiculous episode of the Cricket Podcast we've ever done, and it's going to be great.
Oh, I don't know about that, Max. We've interviewed people who, when they were driving in their car, we've introduced Fletcher, who decided not to talk to us. So, do you know what? I think this could be okay. So, Max, could you give us a nice day summary of the play down under?
Only if I absolutely have to, Ross, because it's been an absolute disaster. You said, Ross, on your grand debut on BBC Radio Wales Drive yesterday. Catch that on BBC Sounds if you haven't heard it. That England, to get back into this game, needed to take a hat trick first thing in the morning, and they didn't do that. They didn't do that. Instead, they let Mitchell Starc score 77 runs. Scott Boland scored 21 runs. Alec Carey had another 20-odd to his overnight score. And Australia piled up 511. Not entirely England's fault. The pitch was pretty flat. They tried. They were okay. But Australia, they didn't look worried. And it's a big first innings lead that England were facing. But there was some hope. England navigated the final 20 minutes of that session to get to the dinner break, 45 for no loss, with hope of one of those classic Bazball turnarounds, a double hundred somewhere in there to bring about an incredible turnaround. But instead, all that happened was England lost 3 wickets for 7 runs in the space of no time at all. It all went horribly wrong, and England are staring down the barrel of a very chastening defeat and a very long rest of the tour. Oh dear!
I think of all the days to wake up for in the Ashes so far, this was the worst. There were 2 wickets or 4 wickets left, so I made a calculated decision. I'm playing football,
competition as well.
Hence why, Ross and I are kicking off in 55 minutes. So I made the decision to actually get a little bit of sleep. Woke up at 6 in the morning, and I was like, surely it'll be over, and we'll know the state of the game. Even if Australia added another 100, at least I'll wake up and get to watch England bat. And it was like, no, it was in the middle of a massive partnership between Scott Boland and Mitchell Starc. Starc was hitting England bowlers down the ground for fun. Absolute torture, really. Proper miserable. I did the Titanic bit yesterday, so I won't go over it again. But it was the exact Titanic. Yeah, it was the exact Titanic situation. And maybe they just clipped the iceberg. So the full extent of the disaster hadn't quite unfolded yet. And now we're looking at it and we're like, there goes another one.
That there will be a floating door either.
Yeah.
In the way in which you're describing it, Jack, on the Titanic is almost like a VAR slow-mo is how I'm sitting it. They've paused it down and you just see the impact of what's happening. Max, Mitchell Starc having the best test series of all time.
He's already played the series, isn't he? We could just
wrapped up a game and a half in.
Stop the count. He's phenomenal. He is. He's having a good series by his standards, and his standards are pretty high. But I do have to wonder how much of it is England. He's been on the money the entire time, right? There has been no let-up. That is true. Yeah, if you score a double hat trick against Tooting and Mitcham in the FA Cup first qualifying round or something like that, maybe people will take the credit away from you, and they shouldn't, because he's been immense. I think that's the thing. The lengths, the lines, everything has been spot on the entire series. He's got more movement than anyone, as far as I can tell from watching him bowl. He's got the ball to swing early up, which none of the England bowlers seem to have managed to do, and he is all over England like a rash. It's got to the point where the commentators on TNT are now so desperately clutching at straws that every time he puts a hand on his hip, they're like, oh, has Mitchell Starc felt something? Is this it? Is this the moment? Is this the moment England need? It's bad. It's bad, but he's good.
Yeah, it was actually kind of surprising that England managed to make it through his first over. It was their 4th go at it. They'd had a lot of practice. But in a sense, that almost, this is how clutching at straws England fans I think had got at this point. It almost felt like a turning moment in the entire series when Crawley and
not to lose a wicket,
170 runs, got through that. Max, In addition to Ross and I sharing the microphone like we're a barbershop duet, we are also watching them open up the football stadium in the background here. So it will be quite a short podcast. In terms of how England batted in response, they just seen the Australian bottom order add runs for fun. It looked pretty flat. Did the conditions change massively, or were England slightly complicit in their own downfall once more?
Yeah, well, probably both, as always, isn't it? I mean, yeah, the lights came on. The ball did start nibbling a little bit. I think you look at the wicket that got Harry Brook, the ball was nibbling around. There were a couple of LBW shouts where Boland had got the ball to move off the pitch a bit. And like I said, Mitchell Starc was getting a little bit through the air. So I think there were signs that there was more going on, certainly than there was for most of the rest of today. But by the same token, England had got themselves into a position where they'd done really well. They were 90 for 1. They were looking like pretty decent. They were scoring well. They were putting a bit of pressure on. And then Ollie Pope goes and plays one of the worst shots I've seen in the entire series, which, again, there's a lot of competition for that, but he's managed it. And Zach Crawley goes and does the same fucking thing immediately afterwards. So, like, it's just...
We've been saying this every single review, though, haven't we? Like, literally, just look at what the guy previously did and don't do that. And yet England are just like little lemmings off of a cliff. Harry
Brook even did it to himself. Like, got given out by missing one, and then played exactly the same shot, and then was out. It was, it was pretty painful to watch, to be honest. But I mean, there is an element where it's going to sound mental with the state of the game, but I don't like pound for pound, punch for punch, whatever. I don't think England are miles away from Australia in this test. It's just like the case of they just
the quality,
the five drops, right? Yeah.
33 things wrong with this England team.
Yeah, can't bat, can't bowl, can't field. No, but what I mean is like the 5 drops, right? If England don't drop all of those, arguably Australia are out a lot earlier.
They did. That's the problem.
Yes,
they were all there genuinely. I would expect those.
They made the chances, right? They made the chances to take the wickets to get Australia out earlier. And if that is the case, they're batting in a slightly better period of the day. And the way basically they stuffed themselves with what they did yesterday and dropping those catches. If that doesn't happen, they're not opening up under the lights. They're not in this position. It's not quite as much of a travesty. It's what I'm trying to say. Obviously, that did all happen, so England are miles behind. But it's. The damage was done yesterday, essentially, is the point, right? Like, today has been bad and it's gone badly, and there's not really much not many positives you can take out of that, apart from Will Jacks bowled quite nicely when he came on. But the damage was done yesterday.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. What I would generally say, I mean, today was a shocker as well. Damage was done yesterday. What I would generally say, I think England are on track to get hammered in this test.
5-0 is now the favourite, I think.
5-0 is probably edging into the favourite. However, to your point, Max, England probably have been better than they have been on the last 3 trips to Australia. So, like maybe you're onto something there.
Well, I think we semi-jokingly. Semi-jokingly at the start of the series.
It was unbelievable here. We lost in 2 days in the first test match. We've already lost now. We've already lost
winning at half time.
Already lost. It's unbelievable. And Ben Stokes is doing his classic thing of not hitting any runs off the square and see if he can pull off another miracle innings. That's all England have going for them, and a Will Jacks special. That is.
But they picked Will Jacks. They could have Shoaib Bashir.
In the best case scenario, they're 50 runs behind now. They need at least 150 run partnership to get to 100 ahead, and even then, Australia are easily going to take that down, aren't they? It's hopeless.
They did hit their highest score for like a decade earlier in this test, though. So what I'm saying is that even though England are uncompetitive, this is the best England team we've seen in Australia for a while. And we're going to go on to heroes and villains because we need to wrap this up. Both of us are off to football matches. Max, you can go first, and I'll pass the mic to Ross.
Yeah. Well, we go with heroes first. I got to say, it's Mitchell Starc again, isn't it? 77 for Australia to really pound England into the dirt, and then he's come back and taken another couple of wickets. I think honourable mention for Michael Neser for 2 caught and bowls, which were very well taken, showing England how to catch. But I'm going Mitchell Starc.
Yeah, but it wasn't the first time. Like, he dropped one earlier in the innings, right?
Yeah.
England had
which
tried
would
to
have been
get
an absolute wonder catch. Yeah.
So, I think my villain is Ollie Pope. The person is supposed to be number 3 for England, supposed to be one of our best batters, and he just hasn't got the minerals to be doing this for England. At the biggest stage, he failed. Time in, time out. Max, he's not good enough for international cricket, I'm afraid, and he is a villain for me.
Ross, not even doing the hero category there.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair
enough.
Too sad.
Just straight on. I look, it has to be said again, and we've given Starc a lot of praise, so we don't want to retread old ground too much, but he is head and shoulders above every other bowler on both teams. Like, probably the key difference between the two sides
100%.
in reality is Starc and not England being stupid. How many times is the guy going to have to prove it before people acknowledge that maybe Mitchell Starc being really good at cricket does have something to do with how scrambled England look at the crease? Like, it is.
Mitchell Johnson.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know it's true though. Like, I don't think England have always batted well, but the wicket, when they have batted stupidly, in quotes, it's pretty much always been to Mitchell Starc. The 2 caught on balls a day, maybe aside, but in the 4 innings so far, we've seen Starc, make them make big errors because he's a really skillful bowler, because he's bowling quick, because he's in really good form, and yeah, that's obvious hero behaviour. Max, I'll hear your villain, then I'll do mine, and then we'll wrap up the pod.
Yeah, well, I think my villain it's two in 2 days. I think for me, it goes to TNT Sports for at the close of the Australian innings, saying, "Now let's have a look at the scorecard. We'll start with the batting, and then just silence, just like 10 seconds of dead air with a scorecard on the screen. It was
more than 10 seconds.
You should have got us to do it. Just we should have just bid for the rights for this.
Look, we'll do it. We'll make it off to TNT now. We'll do the last 3 tests for unlimited Coca-Cola and coffee, and I'd like a hot dog for at the end of every day's play, and exposure. We have to have our branding on it, which is obviously really good. And I want to do it from the shack at Mitchell Football Stadium. Villain, there's quite a few villains probably knocking around. I'm going to say the crack that got Duckett out.
Yeah, that's a good one.
that was a really villainous piece of behaviour from that crack. Quiet for 50 overs, and then 7, 8 overs into the England innings, banged in back of a leg. The ball before had hit more or less the same spot, passed through 150 centimetres. At 150 centimetres when it went past the stumps. The next ball a whole metre lower.
Arguably,
the curator,
without that crack, England closed the day 200 for none and in the lead.
Probably,
so, morally.
I think that's the only logical conclusion you can come to. We'll put it up. We'll put it up to another one for the Aussie groundsman. Villainous in the first test, villainous here. Look, Max, I think that's probably everything. Just a reminder to everyone to click like and subscribe wherever they are listening or watching.
Look at this dedication to the podcast. Look at this dedication.
Apologies if the audio production isn't as good as normal, but as I said, we are outside at the shack, Tooting and Mitchell Stadium. Come here, you can get some great jerk chicken, really reasonable prices. You can see it up on the wall behind me if you're on YouTube. $16.50 for a large, $16.50 for a combo. That's 2 meats. Top stuff. Thanks very much for listening or watching. Goodbye.